Thank you, Rachel. To find out more about rooted living, you can visit their table in the lobby all day. Next up, we have Jeurys Santiago from Minds with Purpose. Jay is a marketing student at UMass Lowell and an Oprah Winfrey Scholarship recipient. His story is one of perseverance. To support his 1-year-old son, Jay has learned to push past a fear of failure to create Minds with Purpose, a networking platform that aims to promote local businesses, entrepreneurs, and artists. In his life and company, Jay hopes to help others find their why. Please join me in inviting Jay to the stage.
What does community mean to you? Maybe you grew up in a small community where everybody knows your name. Or maybe you grew up in a pretty close church community. Or maybe you grew up like me in a variety of communities. While I was born in the Dominican Republic, I really grew up in the Washington Heights section in New York City. But really, I grew up in my mom and dad's barbershop on Amsterdam Avenue. Talk about a pretty close community. Their shop doubled as a community recreation center. This is the place the whole neighborhood came to hear the latest gossip, swap jokes, and get the coolest new hairdos. Not only did I grow up with a tight community, I also grew up with the business culture flowing through my veins, and I knew it was all about the hustle. You see, my mom and dad gave me a display case to hustle my own bead creations and hats. Yup, I was pulling a profit by age 8. In addition to my side hustle of selling stuff, similar to most of you all, I had a lot of interest, from chess competitions to competitive basketball and to ballroom dancing. While this all sounds like a beautiful, rosy picture, there was also a heaviness that I was carrying. Similar to 10.5 million people in the US, I was undocumented. While my friends had the luxury about dreaming about their future, I was scared of deportation, and I never gave a thought to going to college. I couldn't afford it. This lack of hope definitely showed in my grades. As a C student with limited dreams, I had redirected my hustle to gambling. With lack of hope, I figured I'd make the most money I could. But luckily, with my parents' support and the support of the new immigration attorneys and the newly passed DACA laws, my status was changed from being that of undocumented to being that of a dreamer. At long last, my hopes was restored. Doors were open to me, and I could start thinking about my future. I said goodbye to gambling when we moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts near the end of high school, and I said hello to new exciting prospects by improving my grades and enrolling in Northern Essex Community College. This is where I took a class in the principles of marketing that planted the seeds for what eventually became my company. You see, I had a teacher who believed in me. Ms. Muller listened to my ideas and encouraged me to get involved in my community and be the leader she knew I could be. She was one of my first champions. At the same time, I was building a new community in college, opening up my eyes to the world of innovation and entrepreneurship, and every day I met my friend Nariel, and we dreamed together about what creative ideas we had and how we could put them into the world. My sophomore year, I attended a Lunch and Learn talk that the speaker brought up an idea that resonated with me. The biggest car company in the world owns no cars, Uber. The biggest hospitality company in the world owns no buildings. And I thought, how can we create a company that supports locally creative businesses through a networking platform? We wouldn't own these businesses. We would leverage our knowledge and community building to help others succeed. There are tons of creatives in my community in the North Shore, from DJs to writers, visual artists, photographers, restaurant owners, to name some, who needed exposure to enter new markets and be sustainable and profitable. They needed to build their community of clients through events, PR, marketing, and entertainment. As someone who always had my parents there and teachers as supporters, I knew the importance of helping other creators grow and be successful. This was a problem I knew I could solve since I've been building community my whole life. But now what? Meanwhile, while transferring to UMass Lowell, shout out Riverhawks. Similar to BU's Build Lab, UMass Lowell has a supportive community of professors, mentors, and resources. And in addition, E4All and the Roxbury Innovation Center, both community resources, helped me by asking me the tough questions like, what is your mission and vision statement? How do you want to set up your business, a nonprofit, an LLC? Who is your first client? How much are you charging? What are your deliverables? These tough questions helped me so that in February of 2021, Minds with Purpose was officially launched as an LLC. We are an entertainment agency dedicated to creating support and exposure for creators, businesses, and entrepreneurs. With 1 full-time employee and 10 freelancers, we provide media production, talent management, marketing services, and live events. Over the last year alone, we have held over 100 events, worked with over 500 artists, and generated over $100K in revenue for the small businesses we work with. And we have plans. We are working on building a digital community platform where you can be discovered, connect, and collaborate. We are starting locally and hoping to scale. Building authentic relationships, that is what I'm all about, and that is what Minds with Purpose does. While we all may have came from a different community, we all have a shared interest here in our community and planet Earth. While you may have not grown up in a barbershop, I challenge you all to find a community, one that is authentic, genuine, and fills you. Find the creative path to build the community you want to be a part of. And thank you.
Thank you, Jay. One of the main themes of Jay's talk was community, and hopefully today will be an opportunity to expand your idea community.
Look around you. In this room, you'll find innovators of various schools and disciplines. So we encourage you to take advantage and step outside the box and meet someone new. And one way you can do that is with an OINT tag.
If you signed up as an early bird, you should have gotten some sweet free swag called an OINT tag. I have one here on my phone, and once you set up the tag, someone can simply tap it and connect to your LinkedIn page.
And we'll demonstrate for you now. Hi, Justin. It's so nice to meet you. I'd love to connect with you more.
Of course, Zoe. Nice to meet you too.
We know today that time is limited, and you'll want to continue the conversations that you start here today. To get help setting up your OINT tag and meet with founder Josh Mayer, you can speak to him at the OINT table in the lobby. Oh, he's right back there. All right.
Next up, we have NJ Umoh, the founder and CEO of CompSciLib, an on-demand computer science education assistance platform for students worldwide. Since launch, he's been able to attract hundreds of thousands of unique users with the mission to create a one-stop shop for everything related to computer science education. Welcome, NJ.
If you told 10-year-old me that I launched a startup that teaches computer science, I would have called you crazy. I would have called you crazy because I didn't even know computer science was a career option. Coming from a Nigerian household, the only career options I had were being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a failure. As a kid, I hated the sound of those career options. What I loved was solving problems with my imagination. And being the middle child of 5 boys allowed me to use my imagination to solve real-world problems. Whether it's setting my alarm to be first in the shower, calling shotgun before car rides, or figuring out how to tell my mom I broke something in a way that wouldn't make her ship me back to Nigeria. Thinking back, this taught me one of my earliest life lessons. Lesson 1, get creative and work with what you got. It's all about making something out of nothing. As a kid, I also loved technology. I used to drool over iPods and tablets and Best Buy magazines, waiting for the day I got my own. And then it happened. I finally got my first piece of tech, a Kindle Fire. And although a Kindle's meant for reading, I can guarantee y'all I did everything but that. I jailbroke it, downloaded everything imaginable, and used it like it was going to break the next day. This taught me another lesson. Always make the most of every opportunity. Although I loved tech as a kid, it wasn't one of my 4 options. So in high school, I picked my poison and went the doctor route. And I hated every second of it. Instead, I put my energy into what I did like, sports. I threw the discus and shot put in high school to take my mind off of school, and it worked. I competed at the Delaware State Championships for discus. But I graduated high school with a 2.9 GPA. That summer after graduation was my lowest point. I wasn't passionate about what I was studying, and I had no goals or plans. It was during this time that I remembered my love for tech and decided to pursue it. Another lesson learned. Pay attention to your passions and pursue them. To pursue mine, I decided to major in IT at my local community college in the fall of 2019. That semester, I finished with a 4.0 GPA. Another lesson learned. Believe in yourself and don't be afraid to pivot. Pivoting from the doctor route to the IT route allowed me to change my life once, so I thought, why not pivot again? Using my new and improved GPA, I transferred to a four-year college where I studied cybersecurity. It was at this college that I first was introduced to programming. And for me, programming came pretty easy, but the math and theory side of computer science didn't. While studying for my theory classes like discrete math and algorithms, I actually used millions of random websites, YouTube videos, and horribly made lecture slides to learn. Another lesson learned. I knew for a fact that I wasn't the only student having this issue. So I studied hard to become a tutor to help other students in my position. And I saw so many students with the same exact issues I had. Another lesson learned. Pay attention to pain points. This is where you may find a problem that's worth solving. After tutoring over 100 CS students, I thought, why isn't there an on-demand CS theory tutor that can help you learn, check your work, and practice all in one place? There was nothing out there. So I decided to build one myself. And this is when I learned my sixth lesson. An idea is just an idea until you execute. And my university at the time didn't have what I needed to execute this idea. So I pivoted again, but this time to Boston University. Within my first 2 weeks on campus, I was selected as an innovation fellow. And through this program, I got the skills, the resources, and the mentorship I needed to launch CompSciLib in early of February 2022 with the mission of making computer science simpler for the next generation of tech students. What started as a collection of calculators to help CS students check their work now provides powerful tools with step-by-step solutions, detailed learning material, and AI-generated practice problems, giving CS students the resources and the confidence to ace their theory classes. To date, we've been visited by over 150,000 users from 175 different countries. And working with a team of 4, we've raised over $20,000 in non-dilutive funding from BU and beyond. And we're currently working on getting CompSciLib into universities and organizations nationwide. And we've already started piloting with some institutions. The road to launching your venture is rough. But always remember these lessons. Get creative and work with what you got. Make the most of every opportunity. Pay attention to your passions and pursue them. Believe in yourself and don't be afraid to pivot. Pay attention to pain points. This is where you may find a problem that's worth solving. A simple idea is just an idea until you execute. Ideas are cheap. It all comes down to execution. And lastly, there are more than 4 ways to be successful. Especially if you come from an immigrant household, I know it seems impossible, but you too can create your own career path in life. While I added tech and entrepreneurship to the list, feel free to add your own. Thank you.
Thank you, NJ. One of the lessons was an idea is just an idea until you execute it. I'm going to do a little plug, but if you guys would like to learn a little bit about launching your first product or MVP, be sure to check out my discussion with NJ that we had a few weeks ago.
NJ was a finalist in the New Venture competition, and the next one could be you. The NVC deadline is in 2 days, so if you're a BU student or recent grad with a venture underway or a great idea, be sure to apply.
The Summer Accelerator is also just around the corner with $10,000 awarded to each team that participates. Be sure to check out the Build Lab table in the lobby today to learn more.
And next, I have the honor to introduce Seth Forbes from Together Estranged, a nonprofit that aims to empower people to find support amongst a chosen family. In Seth's own experience of finding a path through darkness to light, she's forged a mission to show the community that everyone is deserving of love and support. Please join me in welcoming Seth to the stage.
In 2019, my partner Drew and I hopped into an RV, driving over 7,000 miles, using 437 gallons of gas to visit over 30 states and counting. We were just two renegades out on the road. Our magical journey started in Florida, and from there we headed out through Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. We went hiking in New Mexico and even found ourselves in Sedona, Arizona, where Drew proposed to me amongst the magical cathedral rocks. I will never forget what he said to me that day. He said, "You're not hard to love." And for someone who's a little rough around the edges, that really meant a lot to me. We drove up the coast of California and pulled over to climb the cliffs in Oregon. That trip represented both recovery and freedom. It was a chance for me to breathe and take back control over my life with the constant support of my now husband, who believed in me before I even believed in myself. Little did I know that the seeds from this experience would grow to feed my venture. But let me rewind and tell you why I got into that RV in the first place. My parents split when I was about 6 years old, and it wouldn't have been all that unusual. I mean, sometimes even fun, right? With 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays, more grandparents, except that it also involved me moving to Texas with my mom and her new husband, and this new guy that my mom married turned out to be abusive. I went from being this happy-go-lucky kid to being groomed and sexually assaulted by the time my 13th birthday came around. And when I told my mom what happened to me, I wasn't believed. My Texas family said things to me like, "I wish you wouldn't have said anything," and "How could you do this to your mom?" and "You've caused so much pain for our family." And that's a lot to put on to somebody, let alone a preteen who's still trying to figure out her place in the world. So I had to say goodbye to half my family, and I moved to Indiana to live with my father. But unfortunately, my sense of family only dwindled further as I became an adult. By the time I was 21, I lost my dad's side of the family after coming out as LGBTQ+. My family could understand why I would speak up about being sexually assaulted, but they couldn't stand behind someone being queer. This broke my heart. As you all know, with being college students, this is the time of your life when you're trying to figure out who you are and where your place is in the world. I realized I was outgrowing my family. And then I met Drew, and flash forward a year later, my mental health had improved drastically. And all it took was having one person in my life who could validate my experiences. While I was in the RV, I had time to think and find my footing. And while we were having this incredible outward journey, I was also traveling inward. I got even more curious about my own challenges with estrangement, and I wondered if other people had gone through the same thing with their family. 18 months after our RV trip started in Florida, we parked the RV here in Boston. And this is when I began to dive even deeper into the issues around family estrangement. So family estrangement is the loss of a previously existing relationship with a family member through physical and or emotional distancing, often to the point where there's little to no communication involved. And I really resonated with this term. Being the data-driven researcher that I am, I created an online survey and I sent it out to about 250 people in an online community. I held focus groups and I found that I'm not alone. In fact, research suggests that about 1 in 4 people in the United States are estranged from one or more family members. In addition, no nonprofit existed for this in the US. A light bulb went off. After everything I've gone through, I am the perfect person to build a community that supports those estranged from family. I have the energy, the history, the research, and there was a clear need. I just needed to strengthen my business skills. So we sold the RV and I was admitted to Questrom's MBA program. From there, I continued to develop this idea further through the Build Lab's innovation pathway, and I met some really incredible mentors, such as Li Liang and Ben Lubin. In 2021, Together Estranged was officially launched as a nonprofit. We support and empower those estranged from family members while enhancing social understanding for the destigmatization of estrangement. And we're getting traction. We've received thousands of dollars of funding and in-kind support from the Boston Foundation, Walmart, BetterHelp. We're even partnering with the Sexual Assault and Response Prevention Team here at BU to launch an in-person student support group called Overcoming Family Challenges. To date, we have 1,400 newsletter subscribers. We hold monthly peer-to-peer meetings, and we also have over 400 support group members from all around the world. So what initially began as a quest for healing and self-discovery became an opportunity for me to make a positive difference in the world. I'm sure that some of you have your own pain points, and I really encourage you to use that as a place of exploration. What is missing? What does the world need? I challenge you to hop into your own RV, be it physically or metaphorically, and push yourself to face whatever it is that's been holding you back. You truly never know what might become of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you for doing truly important work. Can we give it up for Seth one more time? And let's give it up for all these 4 change makers right now as well. Thank you.
And now join us to welcome back the 4 Ignite speakers for an Ask Me Anything session.